It's me again, 24. I know my videos have been really inconsistent with the uploads. I think my last video was like a week ago, but I couldn't resist putting up this video today. It's about the Supergirl TV show, and later on today, I'll be releasing a couple of videos about both Arrow and The Flash because they all have to do with the CW TV dynamic, where CW has gotten the green light to create a bunch of live action TV shows starring a bunch of DC superheroes. A lot of them are a little bit offhanded, like Green Arrow. Like, a lot of people, excuse me, a lot of people didn't really know who Green Arrow was until the TV show. Now a lot of people do know who Green Arrow is. So it's a very good way to introduce some of these characters like Green Arrow. I should have just said just to introduce Green Arrow, because everyone knows who the Flash is, everyone knows who Supergirl is. It's just a really good way to introduce a lot of these characters. But Supergirl is what I really wanted to talk about. I think Supergirl is probably the best DC representation of a superhero since maybe the Christian Bale movies. She's that good. The TV show, I won't say is that good. I think the actress that portrays her, the way that her costume is designed with the short skirt, as well as like the leggings and the boots and the cape, and the symbol is spot on. Like her costume, like the costume is like the first thing that you notice about her, and they nail it spot on. And the girl, when she puts on the costume, when she puts on the uniform, and when she's not in the uniform, are exactly how Supergirl should be portrayed as. And it's just fantastic to watch. There is a scene where she is. It's like the second time she puts on the costume. She's still trying to figure out how to wear the costume, and what to add on and what not to add on. And she is walking. She's trying to stop these bank robbers, and she's walking she's walking like she has swagger. She's walking like she owns the place, and she's worried that she might get shot, right? Because she doesn't know if she's bulletproof or not. Once she looks at her shoulders and she sees the bullets are being reflected, she smiles. Then she just runs towards them, and it was so perfect. It made my day. I was literally smiling and saying, "Get her ass. Get their ass, Supergirl. Whoop their ass. Get them. Get those bastards." Oh, I was really excited. Like that's what I wanted to see in a Superman movie, and to see that in a TV show, let alone a CW TV show, which they're underfunded compared to the movies, and some of the CGI isn't as good as it's not even on the level of Man of Steel or Batman v Superman, but to see them make do with what they have, oh man, especially in those opening moments of the scenes, oh man, it was fantastic. It was great to see. Supergirl being Supergirl in her own TV show, as well as I cannot tell you how important it is to nail her off of, or to nail her persona when she's not wearing the uniform, and they did. She's this very awkward and very shy person, and that's who I want her to be. She's not a Clark Kent who sometimes is very, like, he pumps up his chest and he's very authoritative, even when he's in when he's using the persona of Clark Kent. But when he's Superman, he's beast mode. Yeah, he turns it on immediately. He's courageous. He's brave. He has swagger, right? And I like how it's very apparent with Supergirl, the TV show, Kara, how the change is very prominent, and how she's very shy. I like that a lot. And in some adaptations of Supergirl, she's very outgoing. She's like, "Fuck all y'all, I got this." But there are other adaptations of her where she's very shy and she's very nervous and she's very timid. And both of those are very good, and they're both great caricatures of Supergirl. Like, it's weird enough. It's weird because she has those two personas. She has the aggressive side where, in the comics, for instance, when she joined the Red Lanterns, right? And she also has this very passive side or she's not as aggressive. And I do like both, and I would have preferred either one, and I do prefer this one, and I love the execution of it. God, I love that show. I should also mention that I haven't seen every single episode. This is just like a first impression video. So I'm going to try and binge watch the entire season of it because it's on Netflix right now, and hopefully give you my full scale review of it in about a week or two when the actual series comes out. I have that amount of time to watch it. She represents. This is good. This is going to offend some of you, but she does do such a good job of representing the S and the super that she sometimes represents Superman better than Superman. Oh my fucking god, he did not just say that. No, but I mean, if you look at a Man of Steel, there's such a transition. There's such a like a quick transition him from him trying to find out who he is, trying to find out where he comes from, to him finding out who he is, solving why he's here and what purpose he is on Earth, and fighting the other Kryptonians and saving his planet, and then going into Man of Steel. There's really no time for him to establish himself as Superman. He's already established as Superman. In the show, in the first episode, she is saving people. She's doing Superman-esque things. She's saving a cat, or technically it was a snake named Fluffy that they were confused with a cat. I was kind of shocked that they kind of just did something like that. I was like, I don't like snakes, but it was cool to see something like that in the TV show, kind of like a little twist. She also saves an ambulance, or she flies an ambulance that wouldn't have made it to the hospital in time. What else did she do? I don't even know. But this is like the first and the second episodes. Again, I haven't seen every single episode. But it was great to see her save the day, save the people, do heroic deeds. What movie have you seen where, whether it's a Marvel or DC movie, whether it's a Marvel or DC movie, where a superhero does superhero-esque things without actually having combat? Like, if you remember any of these, like any superhero origins, it's mostly, to save people. It's not necessarily to combat these villains. And it's very cool to see the TV show go back to the roots. I'm trying to think, does The Flash do that? Kind of. Arrow does not do that whatsoever. And I'm going to make a video about both of those series again later on today. But right now I really want to focus on Supergirl, right? Great representation of Superman, sometimes even better than Superman, of course. Now I have to talk about the negatives. There's one outstanding negative. And what I mean by outstanding, it is literally just very prominent throughout the first season. That is feminist pandering. I absolutely hate it. I remember the reason why it took me so long, by the way, to finally get into this series and watch it was because I saw this video about on BuzzFeed about how there was this full cast of female. No. It was that they had this segment about how men and women try and attract the opposite sex, and the whole camera crew, the director, whatever, they were all females, and they were supporting, Supergirl, and the music, what was it? It was that song. It was like, I wanna say you'll be brave, or something dumb like that. It was this really bad song, and I was like, that's kind of weird, because Supergirl is this very beast. Like, she's not. She's as strong as Superman. Everyone can agree she's as strong as Superman, even though she doesn't look like it. She's as strong as Superman. She doesn't have the heart, though, I don't think, as Superman, because she's sometimes battling with her Kryptonian side as well as her earthly side. Like, Superman Clark Kent was born on Earth. He, that's his home, whereas Kara's home, her home is Krypton. That's where she's born. That's what she knew before she came to Earth. And I think that that's always like a clash. She always has like a semi-clash with being from Krypton and having her actual adoptive planet of Earth, right? And talking about feminist pandering throughout the throughout the TV show, it sucks. It sucks to see feminist pandering in the TV show. It's something that is very cringeworthy. There was on the first episode, because I remember this very clearly, where not a news reporter, it was a waitress, said that finally I have a superhero that my daughter can look up to, and yada yada yada. And I'm like, well, why doesn't she look up to Superman? Superman's a good guy. I mean, he saves the day. Just because she's a female doesn't necessarily mean that all females have to look up to her. Some males can look up to her too. Just like how Superman, all of his fans aren't necessarily men. Some of them are women. It's that same problem, and it's paramount. It's paramount that they get this shit in every new episode, and I'm hoping that it wears itself out. They can't keep this shit up, because I'm getting burnt out, man. I can't do this. I can't watch 40 minutes, not even 40. It's probably like 10 minutes of just pandering over and over and over again. Like her sister at the end of the first episode, Kara's sister at the beginning of the first episode, she says that her director, because Kara's sister is like in some secret government agent, and the director, he's like, she shouldn't be out there, yada yada yada, and her sister is like, why? Because she's a woman. And I was like, there's so much wrong with what she said, and it's like every single time that they question Kara, it's always because she's a woman. It's not because she's inexperienced. It's not because it's not because she's wearing herself out. It's not because she's literally doing this a week after she discovered that she really wanted to do this. It's not because she's not qualified. Or it's always because she's a woman. It's never because she's not qualified to do this. She's not Superman, right? And it's so annoying to see that there's always some type of pandering. There's always some type of feminist objective in the TV show, and it sucks because there's actual moments where there's some really good feminist pandering. Right? And I hate using the word feminist pandering, but I have to use it because that's how I can only describe it. Like there's this time where Kara's boss is explaining her ascension to being the CEO of this media company, and how she had to scrap and she had to grind and she had to work as hard as she possibly could. She had to work twice as hard for half as much, and I can relate to that. I can relate to that a lot. And I was like, I love this moment because Kara's getting it now, because she's realizing that she shouldn't do all of this work, and it was at a time when Kara was taking on too much work and yada yada yada, and she should take it one step at a time. And her boss kind of hints, hey, you can start out here, you can do what you're doing, you can become the CEO of this company, or the CEO of another company, because you're starting out exactly where I started out, and I see me and you. And ironically, Kara obviously is Supergirl, and the boss doesn't know it at this point yet. And she's like, Supergirl could take, a page out of your book. She could take, she could start at the bottom and work her way to the top. And I loved that moment. I was like, that's a moment that seemed very organic and very real. And if you didn't input every other moment, like every other interaction with, girls, saying, Supergirl's great because she's a girl, and Supergirl's discriminated against because she's a girl, and etc., etc. And it's like, I loved that moment because it was real. I hated every other moment because it was scripted. But the pandering is cringeworthy, and there's good pandering in it. It's just really 1 out of like 15 moments. So I can't really say that the pandering's good. But if you can get past the pandering, then it's a fantastic TV show. It's great. I mean, the CGI is terrible, but I mean, if you're a comic book fan, if you love Superman, if you love Supergirl, you will love this TV show. You won't love it. You will like it because the feminist pandering does get in the way of it sometimes. The show unfortunately gets in its own way. Superman is seen as a curse word. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate how one of the most iconic superheroes on the planet, in comic books and outside of them, is seen as a no-no word. They don't say Superman. They say the Man of Steel. What? They say he. They refer to Superman as he. They sometimes refer to him by his Kryptonian name. I'm sorry, my ear is itchy. Which it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. I haven't slept in like 12 hours. It's something Zor-El. I forgot his first name, but it's something Zor-El. That no one refers to it really, but it's his name. They refer to him as his Kryptonian name, and it's like, just say Superman. It's not a disgusting word. It's his Superman. It's his name. It's one of his names, and it's so weird to me. Obviously, it's the TV show's named Supergirl, but I should really have had a counter on how many times it would have been appropriate to say Superman, and how much it's like they wanted to say Superman instead of saying he or Man of Steel or whatever. And it's like, just say Superman. It's simplistic. It doesn't really affect anyone. It's not a bad word or anything like that. But it was so cringy to see that, because you know what they wanted to say. They knew what they wanted to say, but they didn't. So, all in all, the actual series so far is good. It's good. It's good. It would be great without the pandering, but the CGI is very disbelievable. It's or unbelievable. Excuse me. It's very unbelievable. It's bad. It's worse than the Flashes, and that's pretty fucking bad. But everything else is good. I mean, I just read the Harry Potter series like a month ago, actually 2 months ago in July. Excuse me. And the problem is that the three main characters, Harry, Hermione, and Ron, weren't necessarily likable all of the time. The girl who plays Supergirl, the actress that plays Supergirl, she is just adorable. I like her. I like her a lot. I like the way that she portrays the character. I like how she has these transformations between, and I know I'm rehashing, but I cannot stress to you how disbelievable it is. Like how believable it is that she's Supergirl and also this anonymous figure. And it's the Man of Steel doesn't get it. Batman v Superman doesn't get it. I think the only other character that has this believable transformation is Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. And I'm not saying that, wow, she's a Robert Downey Jr., but what I am saying is that Iron Man and Robert Downey Jr., or Iron Man and Tony Stark, are these very symbiotic characters. Like, you see a lot of Tony Stark in Iron Man, and you also see a lot of Iron Man and Tony Stark, right? But there are some characters like Spider-Man, for example, that have their alter egos switched up. Peter Parker is a little bit nerdy, but he has some swagger to him every once in a while. Spider-Man just has swagger to him all day, every day, and he displays a little bit of nerdiness, right? And it's great to see this transformation between caricatures, between their alter egos. Supergirl nails it on the head. And I love it. I love it so much. This has been 24. Remember to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. I'm going to be coming out with an Arrow video and a Flash video series. Later on today, I want to talk about that. This video has really gotten me inspired to talk about those two CW series. And do you think that Supergirl is as good as CW's Flash and Arrow series? Because personally, I think that it's better than season four's Arrow series, but I don't think it's as good right now as the Flash's season two series. And I kind of just want you to, think about that. Comment in the section down below what you guys are thinking about it. And I'll see you guys next time.